Sales?
I'm afraid we'll have to wait and talk to the AI. Gareth isn't available at the moment. Welcome on Avenue. Welcome once again. No, I'm not going to do that. All right, look. Welcome once again to Gareth and David. Gareth Wax, Many Purple Hearts, David Chernick, and we are talking about the two letters that some people, particularly in the arts forums, think of as the two-letter swear word. AI. Is it taking over the world, and specifically, is it going to replace salespeople? When you negotiate for a contract, will you be negotiating it with AI? And then a further question, which I would like to debate with you during this, is will it end up with one AI negotiating with another AI? Welcome, David.
God help him.
And of course, the other little elephant that's in the room, which is, of course, David's background on Friday, jiggling, which is Mr. David Chernick and Gareth Wax, will be rocking out at the Wellington. We're playing a mixture of everything from rock to house to harder house, and basically we're going to hopefully get you moving. It's something we do as a side hustle anyway. So just getting that out of the way. But back to AI. David, are AI going to replace salespeople?
Well, it's interesting because there's a lot of feelings going on. People are getting it in the feels in and around the sales profession.
Yeah.
We have salespeople who are worried about it. Taking over their jobs. We have business leaders who are very excited about it, that they won't need to any longer employ salespeople. Who can blame them? Who can blame them, man?
Yeah, but it makes me feel sad in a way that they're missing the point.
Yeah,
I just think they're missing the point.
We'll come to that. But we have buyers who are both, some are not looking forward to it, and some are really looking forward to it. We have salespeople who are looking forward to it because they think it's going to make their lives easier and take away some of the donkey work, and everything really in between all of those things. But the question is that I do get asked, and I get asked from both sales managers and just business leaders, is how much should we be investing in AI? Because is this something that's really we need to be looking at to either complement or improve or take away sales?
All right. So, okay, let's do the quick answer.
I don't know.
You're supposed to be the genius here. Come on now.
Okay, so I've obviously spent a considerable amount of thought on this and researched a number of different tools. And I've got to say that the tools I've seen so far have been more on the front end, further up the funnel.
So the lead acquisition side.
Yeah. So more on lead acquisition and more about getting them into your pipeline rather than nurturing them through the pipeline.
Yeah, you see, here's the problem, right? The word nurture is the most human of human characteristics. It's the antithesis, in my mind, of anything mechanical.
Yeah.
You can't use a robot to nurture people because I think, and forgive me for saying this, robots don't love, and robots don't like, and robots don't emote. These are human characteristics. So using an AI to do what is a kind of a two-step dance with your dance partner.
Let me ask you this then, Gareth. Let me just ask you this. Do you emote?
It's not entirely fair. I'm not very good at it. That's partly down to my personal condition without putting
Autism.
labels on it. Well, yeah, I'm self-aware, but usually only after the fact. So I've got my lack of filter means that I blurt out stuff, and then I, without realizing how it will affect other people, until
All right. So let's just. I mean, this is I think relevant, especially considering you're on the call. But you know, a significant proportion of people will be far enough along that what people think of as a neurodivergent spectrum.
Yes.
To really, you know, not emote to the degree that others do.
Oh yes, but what I'm saying is
that doesn't stop you being a good salesman.
No, but because I'm really good at recognizing repeated patterns. Oh my god, that sounds like a robot.
Okay.
Yeah, but that ability to get people to like you or to want to listen to more of what you have to say is down to a personality on personality thing. And as of now, none of the AIs that I've come across, and maybe you could tell me different, can truly be said to have one of those.
So this is why I posed the question, how long? Now, we both just been talking about a gig that we're doing on Friday together, music, right? And so music is one of my passions. I know it is one of yours. So I follow a lot of what is said about music, as well as listening to a lot of music. And anybody that's is paying attention will know that there is AI generated music.
I listened to my first AI generated album the other day.
Yeah. So I've been listening to quite a bit. I have to say that a lot of it is, to me, indistinguishable from the real thing. And, you know, anybody who's particularly interested will be able to look up a Beatles song that was brought out fairly recently. You can listen to that, which used AI in order to be able to replicate both the singing and performing style and the writing style of the Beatles. Okay, and it's pretty good. And it went down fairly well amongst a lot of critics. So if you can do it in art, you know, you can probably do it in most business processes.
Yeah, there's the trouble. The art has often been seen. I remember when I was a kid, and I posed the question, "Oh, can't the robots do this?" I remember asking the question. Oh no, a robot will never be able to draw as effectively and as diversely as a human. Well,
now here's the rub.
Yes,
we've just come off the back of, or in the middle of festival season for music. Okay, so Glastonbury and whatnot. And one of the things that we've seen a lot of in festivals is that people that are headlining, i.e., the bankable artists, the ones that will draw the crowds to spend hundreds of pounds on getting there, are not up-to-date modern performers. They're the old lot. You know, Coldplay was headlining, for example,
and often has done.
Yeah,
arguably.
And whilst I could be thought of as one of those old codgers that is living in the past, modern music that is released today, or that is allowed to, you know, seep into the top 10 on Spotify, tends not to be the sort of music that I think is going to be memorable and still played in 20 years.
I hate to say it, and it's going to make me sound like an old codger by saying this, but I think you're probably bang on the money. And
it seems to be more formulaic. And it seems to be less human. You know, where you've got people of old, like Coldplay, he would have written his own songs.
Oh, totally. And well, they all write them together as a group. I've seen a video of the writing process.
Yeah. Now, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Coldplay, but they would have been writing their own tunes. Whereas the majority of music you find in the top 10 these days, they're really not writing their own tunes.
No,
They'll
they're
have a
written by
professional
committee.
writing team that is often provided by, I don't know, the music company, the record company.
Yeah, it's amazing. You look at the writers' credits on some of these tunes.
There's loads of them.
Yeah, there's like 15 writer credits on there.
Yeah.
And the artist might be in there, but they probably just supplied a word or what it was. It's amazing.
Or a riff or something,
Yes.
Who knows? But it tends to be more of a team effort. And I think that what AI is doing so far, and seems to be doing well, is sort of replacing that kind of team. Rather than being the sort of inspirational, creative force behind it.
Right.
Now, it's a little bit like doing a taste test. Can you taste the difference between factory-produced salmon and line-caught salmon that's been swimming up a river, right? Yes, there is a difference, but you are able to get pretty close. And the question here for sales is how much of that entire sales process culminating in the close and the onboarding is a machine going to be able to do? And certainly in the course of my career, I think that people have become more and more wary about the formula, the sales formula, because they know when they're in it. They know when they are being manipulated. They become much more wary, as I say, and much more savvy. And they want to deal with genuine human beings. So it very much depends on what kind of human being you are. That's my sort of bottom line on this. Are you the sort of person that wants to replicate what you see on Wolf of Wall Street, which, by the way, nobody wants? Yeah. If you come off as that person who always be closing, nobody wants that. Nobody enjoys being sold to that way.
Very late 1980s, isn't it?
What they need out of the purchase by dealing with people like that. And that is the type of salesperson that AI is able to replicate.
Right.
What AI is going to find it more difficult to replicate, and I'd hesitate to say impossible, but what's going to find more difficult to replicate are the flawed nuances. Yeah. And those flawed nuances include some noxious nuances. You're not going to have to deal with body odor. You're not going to have to deal with alcoholics. You're not going to have to deal with all of those things when it comes to AI. However, you're also not going to be able to deal with as easily the Gareth Wax salesperson who, as his side hustle, plays hard house with some percussion layered over the top, a flawed percussion. You're not playing to a click track, are you? When you drum, you're playing to the music.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very rare to listen to music these days that is produced these days, which isn't, it's just on the beat. It's completely in tune. They're using software to tune up the singers' voices. You can hear it. And I was listening to a podcast recently by a sort of a music analyst kind of guy and former music producer and music professor called Rick Beato. I'm a big fan of his. And he said that when he was listening to some AI music, his kids, teenage kids, were able to spot instantly that a piece of music was AI, whereas he, the decades...
Did they say what about it sounded AI? Were they able to vocalize to him?
That didn't come off in the podcast. I don't think they were able to express what it is. It's just like, what? How can you not hear it? You can hear it. So, whether it is that it's just too perfect, too pristine, too on the beat, who knows? But, I kind of like, one of the reasons I love art, and not just music art, but it is the flaws. Yeah, it's the imperfections, and it's those imperfections that actually bring us something that's extra special. In its, and when I say extra special, I'm talking using the actual meaning of the word. It's beyond special. Now, in terms of the question, how long? Well, I think we've already seen some pretty rapid advances. I mean, I've been
stupid advances. We weren't even talking about AI properly 3 years ago.
Not even a year ago, really. But in the last year, I've had phone calls with AI. I have had text conversations with AI. I had a text conversation. I mean, it's not perfect, folks. It's not perfect.
It was terrible. I'm sorry. It's so terrible.
A DM thing. I got hooked into something I saw on Instagram. I responded. I got an AI response. I wasn't trying to have fun with it at all. In fact, I didn't know straight away that it was AI. I responded in a way that it perhaps wasn't expecting.
No shit.
We went down a very quick conversation where this AI tool, on behalf of the company it was being programmed by, representing, was very close to doing a deal with me on something that they couldn't provide. And by the time they found out, they quickly shut it down. Now, this is actually somebody I know pretty well. So it got hooked into something that it knew I wanted to buy, but hadn't been programmed well enough or trained well enough to know what the limitations of what its company was able to deliver, right? And that's just one of many, many different variables that you're going to
the thing that worries me is that until relatively recently, I mean, a year ago or so, we all thought that AI was going to be here to take the mundane, donkey work, repetitive jobs off us so that we could then be more creative in the time. It seems that for some odd reason, it's meteorically accelerated in just those areas. In the areas of art and music and the stuff that we thought we were going to be left to do. If AI ends up creating convincing art or music, convincing, I'm not talking about where we are now, which is, let's face it, must be in its infancy, logically. If it can, then we have to think that our purpose has got to be to do stuff that the AI cannot do. We must distill and find that very essence of humanity that a machine would find it difficult to follow in the footsteps of. It turns out that creating basic music and creating basic imagery is not that. It's going to be something more. It's going to be, as you say, David, the imperfect. I've been listening to a lot of AI-based drum beats recently. They're just too perfect, too clean, too on the beat or too off the beat. It's just, whereas a real drummer doesn't deal with either on the beat or off the beat.
A real drummer is going to be affected by mood. He's going to be affected by distraction
and swing. You know, when you're swinging the beat as opposed to playing it straight. And I've heard, and I was playing with a drum machine recently, or a drum setup, a bit of software that purported to be able to swing it, and it still sounded mechanically swung. And I think, I think there's, I mean, guys, I don't play an acoustic drum set anymore. I play something rather different, but what I do it's me doing it. So the beats that come out are through my own intelligence, through my own generation, and they aren't always dead on the beat.
And your own physicality, and
all of that. And to go back to the original question, I think we need to absolutely realize that there are essences of relationship building that humans have become adept at, and if we can focus on those bits, that's the bits. It's in that's where the secret sauce is. We've got some comments coming. We've got Sabine Mataru, who says, yes, AI has accelerated. I'm still battling with ChatGPT, learning my voice and connect with human emotions deeply, but so far I've failed. I don't think it can replace humanity. Yeah, Sabine, but we are iteration, 5, 6?
Yeah.
When we are iteration...
So going to that question specifically on the timing, considering what's happened just so far since the launch of ChatGPT 4 specifically, which has not been that long, I think I'm giving it another 1 year or 2 years until a lot of that higher up the funnel stuff can be just taken care of. But I'll just give this one, this extra sort of word of not warning, but preparation, which I think that people, this is not just me thinking this, but this is what I'm hearing and sort of seems to chime with me, is that, we want to be using AI, certainly at the moment, for very discrete tasks, rather than looking for it to do things too broadly. If you want people to arrive in your sales funnel, use AI specifically to get them into that sales funnel. Once it goes beyond that role, when you start having to have conversations about main problems that are keeping them up at night, or what they would see as being ideal solutions to their problems, or anything like that, stick to a human for the time being. Get AI to do very discrete tasks. Don't get it to produce a whole piece of music.
We've had another comment come in, by the way, from Gary Phillips. AI and its logical conclusion and consequences incompatible with society as it's structured today. Yeah, you're quite right, sir. Add in the other conflicting and logical parts of society, such as religion and the clashes that causes. AI has some excellent applications that create some great opportunities, etc., etc. Also, when malicious acts and stuff. Yeah, I get all of that. But to repeat what David says, we're at a very early iteration. Very early iteration. I think you're going to end up with, you could even end up with proxy wars being waged by AIs against AI defenses.
Well, let's stick to sales and music. So hopefully that's given people a little bit of a time frame. As Gareth said, we're looking for the human connections here. So do everything you can. Okay. Do everything that you can to, this is what I'm doing. This is what I think that everybody should be doing. If you want to try and find that essence of where you personally will be as a human valuable in closing deals, and that is to focus on the skills and competencies that you have in forging connections with people, building trust, all of those sorts of things. So a lot of communication skills and using those systems wisely for discrete tasks. Okay,
I've got one thing to say to you all.
Just one more thing.
Just one more thing, and this is all to do with spelling. No. Everybody's using Grammarly or AI spell checkers, or they're pumping stuff out ChatGPT. The assumption now is that most posts are originated through ChatGPT. So if you are doing that, add some spelling mistakes.
Oh, don't fake it, mate. AI will also include the MailChimp a while ago, because MailChimp is one of the mailing tools. Well, now it's a bit broader than that, but I noticed that in its published list of most opened email subject lines,
right,
somebody had said the deliberate spelling mistake in the subject line often gets more people to open it. But I will know that already.
I briefly worked with a company called Phrasey, who specialize on coming up with the ideal subject lines for emails. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, all right, guys, look, as ever, it's an absolute Wellington and Borehamwood. It's what's that postcode? It's
WD6.
WD6. All right. So come along. You can meet me and David there in between sets if you want. We're going to be cutting a rug. We're going to be absolutely smashing it. Well, hopefully, you'll see a lot of. It will be a lot of fun.
Don't break anything.
And guys, look, if you see what we're doing here and you like it, please do comment even after the fact, because we take this information and we use that in the construction of other live streams that we do, but you can catch us regularly Wednesday around about 10ish, and we do talk about topics that hopefully will inflame your interest. Sabine has just jumped in and said, you are correct, David. With copy, you can spot AI from a mile, but it's good to give you a framework and a starting point rather than starting from scratch. I often rewrite 70% of it again, and yeah, it's an earlier iteration. I don't know whether it's going to become a lot better. I assume it will. David, thank you so much for taking your time to be part of this. Guys, he did it. I look forward to seeing some of you down the Wellington on Friday. Oh, lovely comment. Thank you, Gary. Fun chat. Well, Gary, and we thought it was fun too. Take care. Always at the AI telling us to say that. And until next time we speak to each other, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and look after that mental health. Bye-bye now.